How one man can feel at home in a place like this is beyond me.
I suppose. Winston? A big house befits a big man.
Mr. and Mrs. McKinney.
Afternoon, Peter.
Oh, I do hope we're not too late.
He's resting. The doctors insisted that he do little else.
Poor Jeb. I do so love the feel of fine wood. And Jeb has exquisite taste.
Money buys taste, Diana.
I suppose.
Uncle Winston and Diana. I didn't know you were coming.
Summon is more like it.
We came as soon as we heard.
Where is he?
I haven't seen him.
When did you arrive?
This morning,
You've been here all day and you haven't seen Jeb or heard anything?
only that his condition has worsened.
Poor dear.
Come, sit down. You must be tired.
Jeb McKinney has invited family and friends to a gathering, perhaps to share the comfort of his loved ones during his last days, or maybe to stage a final reckoning with the help of the dead man's gun. In the American West, a gun touched by evil passed from hand to hand, changing the lives of all who possessed it. Its origin unknown, its dark legend grew, until it came to be known as the dead man's gun.
Ah, brandy. Anyone care for a drink?
Thank you.
Just water for me. Oh, we've missed you, Bruce. I trust your time abroad was worthwhile.
Worthwhile? I suppose.
Well, you look more settled and serious.
Melancholy, maybe. I took many a long walk by the Seine, read the philosophers, meditated some. Spent most of my days alone, actually.
But not your nights. I bet you had your dance card filled at night.
Winston, please.
How else would he eat?
I know you've branded me with a certain reputation, Uncle, but I do hope that given time, you'll find me quite changed.
It's not me you have to prove anything to.
Why would anyone have to prove anything to anybody?
Max!
Diana!
Oh!
Oh, look at you. The years have been kinder to you than they have to me.
You are too kind, sir.
Safe journey, Mr. Lundy?
Well, no arrows stuck in my hide this time around, son. How are things going in Boise, Winston?
Nicely, thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
No excuse necessary.
I suppose I should introduce myself. I'm Emily Bennett. As Mr. McKinney requires a full-time nurse, I have been staying here for the last few days.
How is he?
Yes, when can we see him?
Soon, I hope. He must rest now, you understand.
Of course, we only want for him to be comfortable.
I'm sure he'll appreciate the thought. If you'll excuse me.
Certainly.
I suppose that's it then. Jeb's called us all here to say his last goodbyes.
That may be so, Winston. Although I've never known your brother to be a man ruled by sentimentality. Later, then. Susanna settling down all right?
Yes, sir. She sure is a pretty horse.
I'm Max Lundy.
Peter Herrick. Jeb's told me quite a bit about you. How you started the mine together.
Interesting times, yes. Jeb was always the ambitious one. Just wasn't in my nature to be staying in one place for too long. Kept my hand in the business, scouting out new territories, opportunities for him.
My father worked in the silver mines in the early days.
You said your name was Herrick? William Herrick was your father?
You knew him.
I heard of him. How'd you come to work for Jeb?
He wrote a letter after my father was killed. He said he'd always have a job for me if I wanted one. I finally decided to take him up on his offer. He's been very generous.
He always has been.
Max. Why, you're quite transformed.
It took some doing, my dear. I apologize for my lateness.
May I serve you, Aunt Diana?
Please. Thank you, Bruce.
I see you've seated yourself at the head of the table. That would be Jeb's place, if he should so choose to honor us with his presence at dinner.
I assumed that he would be dining in his room. But you're right, Max. I guess it was quite presumptuous of me.
I seem to recall Jeb offering you a job at the mine last year, Bruce.
I chose to study instead.
That's right, Max. He studied dance, how to sidestep work.
Like everything else, work is all in how you look at it. It's only work if you'd rather be doing something else.
Uncle Jeb.
Sit down, sit down. Don't make this a grand entrance.
Aunt Diana, Uncle Winston, Mr. Lundy, it's so wonderful to see you all again.
Yes, I only wish it was under happier circumstances. Jeb, what has happened to you?
Life?
I trust Miss Bennett is taking good care of you.
She does a fine job, yes.
And you're not in any pain?
I'm not, Diana, truly.
It's just that we've all been so upset by the news, Jeb.
What news might that be, Winston?
Whatever reason you asked us to come here today, old friend, it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Max. Now, please, all of you, sit down. I do appreciate your concern. I'm sorry to have disturbed your dinner, but I have cause to act with some urgency.
Why is that?
Allow me to introduce my legal counsel, Mr. Arthur Nevins.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Nevins.
Legal counsel, Uncle?
Mr. McKinney has instructed me to respectfully request that you stay in this house tonight and through the weekend.
Of course.
You see, I've invited what's left of my family and friends to extend the olive branch, if you will.
I'm sorry, Uncle. I still don't understand.
Bruce, you're by no means stupid. Yes, I am dying. Therefore, I plan to make out my will. I intend to have it certified by Sunday midnight. I thought it proper to reacquaint myself with those dearest to me before deciding on how I shall distribute the fruits of my labor.
So you've planned this weekend as a sort of trial, Uncle?
My estate, of which you are all well aware, is considerable. Not only my net worth, but also my extensive business enterprises, the management of which will have to be entrusted to a person or persons most worthy and capable of the task.
We've had a lifetime together, Jeb. And make no mistake about it, I'm gonna hate to lose you. But I don't see how you can determine my worth by my being under your roof over the course of 3 days. You deemed me unworthy years ago.
I never judged you, Winston. You did.
What if we choose to leave?
Then you'll forfeit any possible inheritance. Why would you want to go? Gourmet food, fine wine, perfectly luxurious accommodations, and of course, each other's company. Emily, enjoy your dinner.
What exactly is Uncle Jeb dying of, anyway? Anyone know? If he were in his bed gasping his last, then perhaps I'd know better what to feel. What I do know is that our dear dying patriarch has laid before us a big, sweet, juicy pie. And each of us has bestowed a slice.
Please, Bruce. Grandpa is still very much alive.
This weekend wasn't my idea.
Even with the moderate share of his estate, you'll be quite comfortable.
Comfortable? I've always been that. But why the weekend? I mean, surely the relative size of the slices is what's at stake here, no?
If that's the case, best keep your nose clean and your mouth shut for the next 72 hours.
Please, let's not bicker. I suggest we pass our time quietly, so that this short stay with Jeb may be peaceful.
Thank you, Auntie. I couldn't agree more.
Fancy piece, that. You know how he came by it?
No, sir. Just that he considers it very valuable.
I don't think he'd mind if I examined it. The craftsmanship. It's perfect. And entirely unique. And loaded.
Guns and wallets. They're only useful when they're full. Wouldn't you agree, Max? It's a remarkable weapon. No? Somebody doubtless will inherit it.
I'll have no need of it.
Well, then put it away. Someone may get hurt.
You're concerned that someone might die before me and be left out of the will, Bruce?
The thought hadn't occurred to me, Uncle.
Grandpa. Grandpa, why are you doing this?
I've labored too hard attaining what I have in this life.
I don't understand what that has to do with your will.
No. I started mining when I was 15 years old. Spent 10 years hammering away at dark tunnels, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, before staking out my claim. Nobody here did the work.
But putting everyone on trial like this...
Everything has its price.
Even love.
Especially love.
I won't be a part of it.
Perhaps you doubt your ability to please me.
You want me to compete for your affection? For your money?
If you're so inclined.
I'm not. And you know it. I love you as my grandfather. No more and no less. If you don't put an end to this, Grandpa, you're gonna bring out the worst in them.
If it brings out the worst in them, I want to see it now, while I can.
You've got to stop this.
I can't do that.
Hello, Anne. You look out of sorts.
None of us are ourselves.
What's troubling you?
I don't wish to talk about it.
It's been far too long since we've spent any time together. We were close once.
Well, you've been away.
Well, I'm not going anywhere now. Once Jeb's gone, there'll be many details for me to take care
I'm
of.
sure that he'll have all his affairs in order long before he passes.
The prospect of not having him around must be daunting. However things fall out in his will, you and I should support each other.
I'm quite capable of taking care of myself.
Let's be sensible, Anne. You're a woman and hardly...
And you're a parasite, Bruce. Your intentions are so damn obvious.
And yours aren't? Coddling Jeb. Catering to his every little desire. As if you didn't have ambition of your own.
Let go of me!
I come to you in friendship and you dare throw it back in my face. What are you doing? Get off of me!
Settle down! Both of you!
He assaulted her.
I did not.
What's going on here? This is your fault, bringing us here under these conditions.
You're free to go at any time.
Where did you get the right to play people against each other?
I'm doing no such thing. You could all be spending the day playing at cards or singing songs around the piano.
Big brother Jeb, always in control, keeping everyone else in their place. All these years throwing me the dregs.
Please stop
I
this.
gave you the charge of the baton load, didn't I? You worked the men to the point of exhaustion, never gave them time to shore up the tunnels.
All my fault, Jeb? You still blame me for that?
It was no accident.
You could never let it go.
You never held yourself accountable.
How many indignities do you think your damn money is worth? Leaving will accomplish nothing.
It's quite clear how he feels about me.
This is no time for a faint heart. That business should have been cleared up years ago.
Let me have my pride, Diana, for heaven's sake.
And forfeit everything? Jeb will be gone soon enough, Vincent, and you're his brother. And you're still the man most deserving and capable of running his company. If he doesn't leave it to you, we will contest the will. And then all you have to contend with is your conscience.
My conscience, Diana? It's already become enough of a burden.
What happened?
You did this, Jeb! You felt nothing for him! You broke his heart!
Was there a suicide note?
No.
What makes you think it was a suicide?
What makes you think it wasn't?
Call this off, Grandpa.
My will has yet to be completed.
Damn the will.
Anyone wish to leave? I didn't think so. You've run off before, Anne.
I came back. I thought you understood why.
I promised your mother I'd look after you as best I could.
You've done that. Your obligation is over. If you don't call this off now, I'll be forced to leave for good.
If you do, even you will forfeit your inheritance.
To hell with my inheritance!
Brilliant performance. No parting words?
I love you. But I'm sorry for you. All of you.
Mr. Nevins, please have an undertaker sent for.
Five bullets left.
One for each of us.
Take the bullets out. And give the gun to me. Oh, dear God. I wish I'd never laid eyes on this.
What if we did leave? This loathsome will could be disputed.
By all means, try. I do suspect, however, as Mr. McKinney's advocate, I would have considerable means to make your day in court very difficult.
It seems Jeb has accounted for every eventuality.
Every single one.
Hypothetically, what if something were to happen to Jeb?
Before the weekend reaches its natural conclusion. I don't see that as likely.
I said hypothetically.
Well, then the will would be dispersed as it stands at the time of his death.
So the remaining guest could then divide his estate equally?
Equally. I believe I just said as the will stands at the time of his death. I don't recall making any inference to the idea of equally.
I don't believe it. Oh!
It hasn't burned.
It was singed.
It's not even hot.
That's impossible.
There are initials on it.
E.S.
Perhaps it's the initials of whoever owned it before Jeb.
Those aren't the initials of a man. It's Latin, an acronym. Sepelere ac eradicare.
What does that mean?
To ruin and destroy.
Where did you get it?
You're best off not knowing.
So tell me, what's the future hold in store for Peter Herrick?
I haven't any plans.
You intend to maintain your loyalty to Jeb once he's in the grave?
I don't know. The house will need to be taken care of.
regardless of who occupies it?
As I've told you, Mr. Lundy, I haven't given much thought to it.
You can't accept it, can you?
He's been like a father to me.
You'd best prepare yourself for what's coming, Peter.
I don't know if I can.
Well, let me help you. Jeb McKinney killed a man years ago. That make a difference to you?
No. I'm sure he had his reasons.
He did. It was self-defense. The man was going to shoot him down in cold blood. Jeb turned, drew, fired. Shot the man straight through the heart. He was dead before he hit the ground.
Thank God Jeb was faster.
The man Jeb McKinney killed was William Herrick, your father.
Despite everything, I will miss Winston.
Of course, my sweet. So will I. But you must have courage.
I really have no idea what I'm going to do. It's quite obvious that Jeb hates me.
That's not true.
Oh, come on. He doesn't give a damn for me.
You must talk to him and make amends.
For what?
You have such a bright future, Bruce. And you're a very intelligent young man.
I wish I saw it as clearly as you do.
Talk to Jeb. Just tell him you're ready now. Tell him you want to learn the business. Tell him that you would be content to take any position that he deemed to offer you.
You know I'm not cut out for that kind of work.
You talk to Jeb. If he senses your willingness, then he will champion your cause. Okay. Now, there you are. Yeah.
He's dead.
Max.
Who was the last to see Max alive?
We all retired at the same time.
Obviously, someone got up.
Anne was right. This has gone much too far. Best call it off before someone else gets hurt.
Whoever leaves is suspect.
The sheriff will want to be notified.
He's already been sent for. God willing, he'll get here soon.
And you still expect us to stay here?
You know full well where I stand on this. If you leave with nothing. Emily?
No.
I've been meaning to talk to you.
I'm not sure we have anything to talk about.
Max told you.
All your kindness and generosity. It was only pity.
In the beginning, maybe, not now. When a man has a gun in his hand, he had best use it or put it down.
Now you know what it's like to lose someone close to you.
You're not a killer, Peter.
My father was a good man.
He was a clean jumper who tried to shoot me in the back. He gave me no choice. If I had to do it over again, I would.
All these years, you never told me.
Would you have believed me? It takes years, Peter, to build trust between people. And it is a very rare thing. Max was a witness to your father's death. He told you of my part in it so we'd have it clear between us.
I can't stay here.
What are you doing with that?
Try not to kill each other with it.
Where are you going?
I'm leaving. That should satisfy you. Increase your share of the estate.
You're not going anywhere. You had the gun.
Peter!
Get Dr. Dutton.
He's dead.
The weekend is over.
Back in time for the finale.
How did you find out?
I told Peter I was staying at the Sutherlands. I knew Grandpa didn't have much time left.
It's good that you're here.
And why is that? She broke the cardinal rule. She left.
Jeb died of natural causes.
The last will and testament of Jebusi McKinney. I, Jebusi McKinney, being of sound mind and body, not withholding my failures and shortcomings, do bequeath my estate as follows. To Peter Herrick, a man I would have been proud to call my own son, it is my wish that he forgive my errors and accept 10% of my holdings and an annual bequest of $50,000. To my most esteemed lawyer and trusted confidant, Mr. Arthur Nevins, I leave 10% of my holdings and an annual salary of $50,000 for the ongoing management of all of my business concerns.
You? You get to run the company?
To Emily Bennett, a trusted companion of many years who came to my side when I needed her most, I leave a bequest of $100,000. To Bruce, my nephew, who never worked a day in his life and will never understand the value of money or family, I leave my gun, an object that, like life, can backfire if handled improperly.
The gun? All he left me is the damn gun?
And the remainder of my estate, including 80% of all stocks, bonds, land holdings, and profits from my company and ancillary enterprises.
I leave to you, my dear granddaughter Anne.
Grandpa?
Call it a living will.
But why?
I'll explain, I promise.
Please reconsider. Please allow me to show you my worth, my value.
You've just been pretending.
I'm not going to live forever. I knew that after my death, the sharks would gather and you would be left without protection. I had to fight them while I was still well and able. I had to see it all to the very end. You've seen what happened here. I insulted you. Made sure that you left this house to keep you out of harm's way.
But Dr. Dutton?
The well-paid actor.
You mean to tell me that my husband committed suicide and Max was killed for nothing?
Your husband didn't commit suicide.
I don't understand.
If Winston had fired the gun himself, there would have been a powder residue on his hand, a contact burn on his temple. A gun drops from a lifeless hand, but he was still holding it. My brother, your husband, was murdered.
Oh, Jeb. Jeb, who could have done this?
I never would have given Winston charge of the company. As much as I wish I could have, as much as I loved him, the task would have been too arduous for him.
What are you saying?
You've always been ruled by ambition, Diana. Money was never enough. You wanted more. You didn't marry Winston out of love. You married him because
No,
he
that
was
is
my
not
brother.
true.
You hoped he would, in time, assume a key position in my company. In this, through no real fault of his own, he disappointed you. He failed you. He was going to leave and you would lose everything. So you killed him.
I'm not going to listen to this.
Max was also in your way, wasn't he? He knew that if I left him the company, he would have become your adversary.
You're a damned liar, Jeb. You're an old man feigning illness so that you could kill the men you despised.
You quietly left your room and took the gun from the library. Walking back toward your room, you spotted Max. The terrible irony of it is he wanted no part of my company or my estate. Only my friendship.
He did this. He brought us all here. He infected us, each of us, with his obsession for money and power. If you had not contrived this vile weekend, Jeb, none of us would have been at each other's throats. You did this. You put the gun, a loaded gun, in a glass case. I didn't come here with the intent to kill.
It was greed that drove you to murder, Diana, not the gun. You even thought to fall in with a man you mistakenly believed I would take seriously. A boy you've been having an affair with for years.
Uncle, no, you must believe me.
Shut your
You must
mouth,
believe me.
Bruce!
I had no idea she would go this far.
Shut your mouth, Bruce! Do you know how long I waited? Suffered? Waiting for you to give Winston and I our due. Give us what we deserve.
You will get what you deserve, my dear. The law shall see to that.
You can't treat me like this. You can't treat me like this.
What are you going to do? Shoot me? Even in this, you disappoint me, Bruce. Go on. Pull the trigger.
Bruce, no!
After Max's death, I took the liberty of unloading the gun. I did what I believed was right. I paid a terrible price for it. My brother and my best friend. I didn't want it this way. To protect you, I didn't have a choice. Money has forever torn families apart. If I gained any happiness in this life, money was not the source of it. Make no mistake, even those dearest to me have at times held in their hearts a secret place, despising me for my wealth. Now, I give it all to you, with my admonition and my love.
Depelere ac eradicare, to ruin and destroy. For better or worse, Jeb McKinney's plan came to fruition. And heaven help his nephew to survive his inheritance, the dead man's gun.